carriage by air. Now, carriage by air can be defined as the transportation of goods or the contract of goods transportation via air. Somebody will still want me to define it again. When you are saying carriage by air, this is a contract to carry goods or passengers by air. A contract to carry goods or passengers by air. So, when we are saying a contract, it means there are parties that are involved. There are two parties that are involved in there. The carrier here and the ship. These two will come together. Probably somebody else will bring them together. If there is someone bringing them together, we're going to see that someone who is the hero or who is the ship. But the bottom line here is an agreement between two parties to transport goods using air. Now, it is believed that as of 2018, 2019 rather, the air cargo transportation accounted to over 6 billion worth of goods annually. Air transportation alone accounted to almost $6 billion worth of goods annually. Whereas when it comes to world trade by value, this air transportation accounted up to 35%. That is the value of the contribution of this mode of transportation. So, these figures are only trying to tell us or to show us the significance of this mode of transportation. Now, this air transportation is controlled, or there are bodies that are responsible for overseeing the activities associated with air transportation. And one of the bodies that are so much concerned with air transportation in terms of regulating and controlling, one of which is called IATA. The other day we were discussing multimodal transportation. I also mentioned this one in passing. Now, what is this IATA? This is an International Air Transport Association. It's an association of players in the aviation industry, or the coming together of these players that are there in the aviation industry. So, who are these players? The airlines.
International Air Transport Aviation.
This is the International Air Transport Association. IATA, others call it IATA. So, this is an association of air transportation players or aviation players. So, who are these players? These can be airlines, airport owners, governments, and some other agencies that are concerned with this aviation or air transportation. So, this is the body that looks after, this is one of the bodies that are responsible for overseeing the operations of this industry, the aviation industry. Now, the primary concern of IATA or bodies like IATA is that of making sure that there is safety, the safety of air users or those that are using air transportation, people that is, the goods, and the airlines themselves. making sure that at least they are safe. So that's the primary aim of this IATA. So as we proceed, the goods or the cargo that is transported via air is basically categorized into two major categories or two major classes of cargo that is transported via air. So let us look at those types, the major types or the major classes of cargo that is transported by air. One, we call it general cargo, and the other one is special cargo, as simple as it is. So we should start with those two classes and possibly follow each and every class. One we have general cargo, the other one is special cargo. It doesn't matter the state of the cargo. It can be the cargo is in gaseous form, the cargo is in liquid form, solid form, that one doesn't matter. But for now, let's take it that we have a cargo that is transported using air transportation can be categorized into two major categories. Now, what is this general cargo? When we are looking at general cargo, this is the kind of shipments that do not require extra precautions or special handling mechanisms. This is the kind of cargo that does not require special handling requirements. That's why we're just saying general cargo. We can talk about dry goods, consumables, hardware, textile, and many others. Goods that you transport. For example, the way this thing is, if you have packed it properly and you are transporting it using that kind of transportation, I don't think this one will require special handling considerations. You just put it there, then you're good to go. But as opposed to this one, there is this other class of cargo that we are referring to as special cargo. So this special cargo is the cargo or the goods that are due to their nature, weight, dimensions, and value may have specific requirements. Due to their nature, the shape, the weight, dimensions, and some other, or maybe the value, they may require special or specific requirements. So the specific requirements may include the labeling, the packaging should be done in a specific way. That is a special cargo. Now, items include dangerous goods, live animals, perishable cargo, weight cargo, and at times temperature-sensitive products, among others, can be considered to be part of special cargo. Perishables, temperature-sensitive, live animals, dangerous goods can be considered to be part of special cargo. And when you are handling these ones, there is a need for specific handling requirements. Now, we are saying, since this kind of cargo requires specific handling, it means there must be rules and regulations that need to be followed when you are handling such kind of cargo. There are rules and regulations that are there to be followed when handling that kind of cargo. Now, each type of cargo has its own set of rules and regulations, and there is a body that there are bodies that are responsible for setting up these rules and regulations. For example, we say when we are looking at live animals, they are considered to be part of special cargo, as we've seen. There are some temperature-sensitive goods that may require specific handling considerations, and their cargo, special cargo, weight cargo, and so on and so forth, right? So it means if these were to be categories, for example, if these were to be categories, it means there was supposed to be a set of rules to be followed in handling a specific category. For example, we are saying when you are looking at special cargo, probably they say what weight cargo, Kavena Hawaii, live animals, Kavena Hawaii, what temperature sensitive, and so on and so forth. So we are assuming that these are the categories of special cargo. Then definitely, if we are setting up rules and regulations as in how we are going to handle these ones, it means each and every category must have its own set of rules, right? The rules cannot be the same. The rules as in how we are going to handle this, the rules as in how we are going to handle this, and so on and so forth. So there are bodies and entities that are responsible for setting up these rules and regulations that we are talking about here. So we are assuming that for weight cargo, there must be a body that was responsible for setting up rules as in how we are going to handle those ones. There must be a body responsible for setting rules to handle live animals and so on and so forth. So one of those prominent bodies is the one that I just mentioned, the International what did I say? International Air Transportation Association, right? IATA. That's one of those organizations, associations, or bodies. But apart from this one, there is also another prominent body that is there in the aviation industry. And this one is called the ICAO, ICAO, others call it ICAO. That is International Civil Aviation Organization. So let us see these ones. International Civil Civil Aviation Organization. That's one. It is one of those bodies that are responsible for setting up rules and regulations for handling special cargo. Just one of the bodies. And then we earlier mentioned what? IATA, right? You said International International Air Transportation Association. Okay. So we say these two are among those bodies that are prominent in the aviation industry, in the aviation space. They are international bodies. Now, they are there to set up the rules and regulations governing this industry to make sure that there is safety of people, passengers, goods, and so on and so forth. Now, these two are different in the sense that one is higher than the other, and it is good for us to understand that one. IATA is an association of players, whereas that one, this ICAO, that one is a specialized UN agency. That one is a specialized UN agency responsible for the aviation industry. It's a United Nations agency, whereas that one is an association of players. So, the ICAO here is a specialized agency of the UN that coordinates the principles and techniques of international air navigation. It coordinates the principles and techniques of international air navigation and fosters the planning and development of international air transportation. It coordinates the planning, the principles and techniques of air navigation. That one. So, principles basically are just like guidelines, not necessarily rules. Principles can just be seen as guidelines and not rules per se. But from the principles, you can derive the rules and regulations. So, what does this mean? That specialized UN agency, ICAO, it comes up with principles and techniques as in how we can navigate through air transportation. Then, after that one, some other bodies that are a bit smaller in terms of their responsibilities formulate the rules and regulations based on the principles set by that ICAO. So we are assuming that this ICAO says we need safety. There must be safety. Every passenger must feel safe when they are using air transportation. That is a principle. So each and every airline must make sure that they are doing their business in accordance with the principle of ensuring safety. Whereas now, some other bodies like these ones, they will now try to narrow it down, break it down. Okay? So ICAO says there must be safety. How should this safety be achieved? Okay, so I think we should have these rules, rule number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on and so forth, to make sure that there is a safety. They are able to come up with those rules. They are deriving them from the principles and techniques that are being set by this ICAO. So the difference between ICAO and IATA is the scope of work. That ICAO has a wider scope, whereas this one has a narrower scope. And that one is a UN agency, whereas this other one is an association of aviation players. Giving an example also, a localized example, we can look at it in this way. In Malaysia, for example, we have Road Traffic Directorate. I think they call it that way. Road Traffic Directorate. Our that one is a government agency. Its responsibility is to regulate the road transportation in Malawi, right? Then we have associations of transporters. For example, we have Minibus Owners Association in Malawi. We know that one. It's an association of road transport players and specifically minibus owners. Through that association, those people are able to set their own rules and guidelines as in how they can conduct their businesses efficiently and effectively, and of course, to their satisfaction and the satisfaction of the passengers as well. But those ones, they are also guided by the Road Traffic Directorate. So in other words, you can see that the Road Traffic Directorate here is a bit higher with a wider scope as compared to the Minibus Owners Association of Malawi. But both of them, they are trying to make sure that this road transportation and especially minibus sector, this one, passenger service, is at least effective and efficient. Both of them, they are trying to achieve side objectives of making sure that you are comfortable on the roads. But their scope of work are different. So the same applies to those two bodies that we are seeing here. Yes.
Can you please give a clear example on the International Air Transport Association?
Examples of International Air
Transport Association. Because you just said the ICA, you gave the Malawi Road Journey as the example.
an example.
Is that the example of the ICA or the International Air Transport Association?
Okay. What I was doing there, I was only trying to highlight the hierarchy that is there, the difference that is there between ICAO and IATA. So I was saying ICAO is a bit higher in its scope than the IATA, right? So that ICAO is a UN agency and it is there to set the principles, right? To set the principles. Guys, we are here. Tikawenda Mabamu, Maputo Dragon Hotel, right? Then under it, there are some other bodies. And one of the prominent bodies is the IATA now. So, yeah, so that IATA is lower than that one. So iyi ndi association yama airlines maiko kama airport owners aliyense amene akupanga nawo za aviation industry ali ma association image. By default, you find yourself a member of that association. But that association, in other ways, whenever they want to set rules or whatever they want to do, they have to consult with ICAO. So ICAO is a member. Come after them, then we have this here. And of course, under IATA also, there are some other small bodies as well. So, the reason why I brought in the Road Traffic Directorate, whatever, it was just an example to only kuhusiana kwa ukuu wa atawia. Just like tikana road transportation, let's say Maryland, Timakandi Road Transport Directorate, you mean the Road Traffic Directorate, that is, you mean the time you have kuma under it, kama customer association and for example, the person association of Malawi, the association ndio matangazo sana tuzienda kwa concept. Koma sali ba mwamba ba Road Traffic Directorate. Kuhusiana na mwenyewe. So that one I just brought it just to demonstrate the hierarchy that also existed there. It was just an example, right? Yeah. So under that one, then there is this. I say IATA. So IATA is there to break down the principles that are set by that ICAO and come up with specific rules and regulations. So based on the principles and recommendations put in place by governing bodies such as ICAO. ICAO is responsible for recommending standards, safety standards, and of course overall transportation standards. It recommends. Then IATA breaks down those recommendations into specific rules, as I said. So, for this ITA rules and regulations to be friendly to the needs of air transport users, they are tailor-made. When you're saying they are tailor-made, they are customized according to specific needs of the air transport users. The IATA regulations and rules, for them to be friendly, they are customized according to the specific needs of air transport users. So, she may have specific needs according to the kind of cargo that she is transporting, and she may have specific needs according to the kind of cargo she's transporting, and he may have specific needs according to the kind of cargo he is transporting. That being the case, these IATA rules are customized according to your specific needs. Therefore, this IATA now has 3 bodies that are also responsible for those specific needs we are talking about here. We are assuming that this IATA here, this one, according to her needs, her cargo is in this category, weight cargo. And according to him, according to his needs, his cargo is this one, live animals, and this one as well. So the rules that are set by this IATA must be made in such a way that they meet the specific needs of these people. So that's why I say, for these rules here to be friendly to the users, the air transport users, they have to be made, they have to be customized according to the specific needs of air transport users. So there are 3 bodies under this one. So those bodies are responsible for meeting specific needs of this air transport users. All right. What are those three bodies? Let me show you.
Give an example. I'm not good with science. Afanya kazi za uruji, baking powder, kumponya mpaka kumanadimu rama ya. Sasa mama mfurahi. Experimenting very fun.
nusu tutafika.
Alright, so let's proceed. Somebody was trying to bewitch me here. I wouldn't find my stuff. And I know that person. But anyway, nevertheless, here we are. So we were saying, to make sure that there's customization in terms of the rules and regulations that are govern the handling of these special goods, there are three bodies under IATA. One of these bodies is one Dangerous Goods Board, GGB that is, and this one is responsible for setting up the rules, as in how do you handle dangerous goods in air transportation. So IATA was tasked with coming up with rules and regulations, and for it to come up with specific rules that are responsive to the needs of dangerous goods, then it had to come up with this board, Dangerous Goods Board. Then I mentioned the second one. This one is a board that is responsible for setting up rules governing the handling of time-sensitive goods. So this one is called Time and Temperature Working Group, TTWG. Time and Temperature Working Group. So this is a board again under the same IATA, and its specific responsibility is to set up rules that will govern the handling of dangerous goods when they are in transit or when they are being transported using air as a mode of transportation. Then there is a third body. This one is responsible for setting up rules that govern the transportation of perishables and live animals. So this one is the Live Animals and Perishables Board, LAPB. So these three bodies under the IATA, they are responsible for setting up guidelines and rules, making sure that these special goods or special cargo is being handled appropriately and safely. So you see that that ICO is on top. Then we have a body like IATA, and then under IATA we have those specific bodies that are there to put up specific rules for specific needs of air transport users. Now, much as we might have appreciated the significance of this air transportation, but it is not there without its own challenges and, of course, problems that are associated with it or the industry is facing. In different parts of the world and different countries, for that matter, this kind of transportation, air transportation, is faced with numerous challenges to the point that some of the players are excusing themselves, are finding it difficult, probably, to go on with the businesses that they launch themselves into due to some of the challenges that are here. So one of the challenges that this industry, the aviation industry that is facing, is the issue of fuel efficiency. The issue of fuel efficiency is a bigger issue there, and actually it remains a major economic issue affecting this industry. So this fuel efficiency, we are talking about the availability of fuel and, of course, the cost of fuel. These two, to a certain extent, are making it difficult for some other airlines to survive. Mind you, these animals consume so much fuel when they are in action. Now, you can imagine a situation where an aircraft is flying from here, maybe to the next destination, is burning huge volumes of fuel, but they are carrying, or maybe it is only carrying few passengers. It is always a loss from the part of the airline. So the bottom line is, most of the airlines find it difficult to sustain their operations due to fuel inefficiencies. Unfortunately, ever since these aircrafts were invented, ever since this technology, aircraft technology was, it came into effect, there hasn't been any alternative source of energy to power these ones. It has always been fossil fuels up to this day. So maybe if there were some other alternative sources of energy, maybe that would be another story altogether. But as of now, it is still fossil fuels, which are a bit more expensive, and that translates into a challenge, a major challenge, an economic challenge for that matter, to the part of these airlines. Another challenge that is faced by this industry is global economic performances. Global economic performances. The state of an economy, for example, a national economy, can also determine how vibrant the aviation industry is going to be in that particular economy. Economies that are better off, this sector is also likely going to be vibrant. Economies that are not doing good, the chances are this industry is not going to be vibrant. Why? Because this is a passenger and goods service industry. So the more the economy is performing good, it means the more people will be traveling up and down, doing their businesses and so on and so forth. If the economy is not good, it means not many people will be traveling up and down. So the global economic performances are also a factor or a challenge that is affecting this industry. People travel for various reasons: business, tourism, and what have you. So if the economies are performing good, those sectors also perform well, and translating into so much mobility on the part of passengers. Another challenge that is there is that of passenger comfort and experience. Passenger comfort and experience. Now, what are we talking about here also? Air transportation, or this aviation industry, is a service driven. So, in a service, to satisfy somebody is not that easy when you are a service provider, because their levels of satisfaction are not always uniform. There is no uniformity when it comes to service provision, because something that guy says, no, this is good, in the eyes of somebody, the same thing cannot be good. So it is difficult for you to define that this is the best service that I'm offering, because to somebody that is not the best service. So to keep up with the needs of passengers is not always easy. It's always very, very expensive and challenging. That's why we find that there are some other airlines are doing good, and people are always talking good about those ones, whereas others are failing to keep up, because now the levels of customer satisfaction, the customers or the passengers, their demands are increasingly becoming more and more difficult for an airline to meet. So it means an airline needs to invest more in as far as the satisfaction of customers is concerned. So such investments in global economies that are unpredictable becomes so difficult. For example, we have airlines that are probably the best, at least as of now, the airlines that we know. We hear of Emirates here. We hear of what are some of the airlines that are the big ones as of now, apart from Emirates. Of course, locally we have Ethiopia here. What else? British Airways.
We don't know.
Sorry?
We don't know.
You don't know. I know you don't know. So we have the likes of Qatar. Now, if you are using those ones, the kind of service delivery associated with those airlines cannot be compared with the kind of service delivery associated with some other local airlines that we have here. So our local airlines find it difficult to keep up with what others are doing in as far as customer satisfaction is concerned. So anyway, that is a challenge. Another challenge that is faced by this industry is airline infrastructure. Airports must consistently be upgraded. Now, upgrading these infrastructures is not cheap, and it leads into inefficiencies in the functionality of those infrastructures or those facilities, thereby reducing the number of patrons or those that were or are likely going to patronize their infrastructures. For example, an airport, for example, our own here, we have Chirek International Airport here, Kamuzu International Airport. Those ones need to be upgraded from time to time. Now, if they are not, the chances are there can be some other patrons. When you think patrons, some other airlines that can be shying away from operating here. They'll be saying, no, the infrastructures there are substandard or are not safe. So that one is like you are deprived of business and business opportunities. So to survive and keep up with the competition, it means that these infrastructures, they need to be upgraded from time to time. And the infrastructures we're talking about here are not only the airports, even the aircrafts themselves also need to be upgraded. So the failure to upgrade these infrastructures due to some other challenges, including finances, may lead into a situation where you find yourself to be less competitive in the competitive business space. Then there is another challenge here, global congestion. There is global congestion as a major challenge. Here in Malawi, probably we might not have seen this kind of congestion because the congestion that we know is probably road traffic congestion that we see each and every day. But out there in the developed world, this problem is real. There are some airports where each and every minute there's an aircraft taking off and landing. There are some airports where you find that every minute there's a queue of aircrafts that are trying to take off. And probably you see a lot of aircrafts in the air hovering around. They are trying to land, but there's no space. This is, of course, another challenge that is there. And at times, such challenges may lead to a number of problems. Delays, cancelled flights, accidents at times, and a lot more inconveniences. It's another challenge associated with the same. Technological advancements. Technology today, in today's world, is very important in every aspect of life. Every aspect of life is yes, technological advancements. So I'm trying to say something on it. So technologies are very, very important and crucial in today's lives. But these technologies can also be seen as double-edged swords. They have the brighter sides and of course the darker sides as well, these technologies. In the aviation industry, technologies can be very, very helpful. But when there is a problem, these technologies also can bring deadly, can have deadly effects. For example, there are technologies that we know or we hear that aircrafts use. Others are going to autopilot or something like this. But where they use specific softwares that are used to drive those machines or to fly and control those machines.
What do you do there?
WhatsApp and negative.
WhatsApp one.
Ikiwa.
Simu nake message nayo.
Unauliza na wewe.
Ndaruza gari vitana. Maufusa nuri mategura ntaweza
Eh, kwa hiyo ndio namba yako.
Usidi mapaya, usidi mapaya tumo.
Ai naiona. Yesu naiona. Makana message ambi. Uzibanga dige yoni nombo. Nizima kama message ambi.
Ama kurumzia ni ndani ya ama kurumzia ni ndani.
Nini masuku je ni namba ya masuku. Line yanga. Zambi mbili zofusa.
Mosango yangu.
Ase. Umatoka kama message watu wanadai. Okay,
okay, so we are saying, while we appreciate the significance of technological advancements, and of course in this aviation industry, but technology can also be seen as a double-edged sword, with having its dark side and of course the brighter side. So, over dependency on these technologies can have deadly consequences at some point. Because any issue, any problem with these technologies can have catastrophic effects or can cripple the entire industry. For example, in March 2019, if I'm not wrong, there was an accident, air crash involving an Ethiopian aircraft. That is, it was flying from Addis Ababa going to Kenya. So there was an issue, and according to the investigators, it is believed it was to do with the software that they were using. I think they say autopilot, whatever. You know. So a problem with that software they were using, even the pilot and the captain failed to control the aircraft. They tried whatever they could, but they failed to the point that it crashed and killed everybody on board. So technology here can also be seen as a problem that is there. Apart from having a fault or the kind of technology you're using having a problem, even the maintenance of those technologies is not also cheap, is also expensive. So to acquire the latest technologies and maintaining them is also a challenge. Lately, we have also had serious challenges affecting this industry, to the point that because of that particular challenge, the numbers of air transportation users had to go down at some point. This problem or this challenge was and is terrorism. We know what happened during after 2011. They call it 9/11, not 2011. 9/11. After the 9/11 incident and the probably 10 years that followed after that incident, air transportation was becoming more and more dangerous because the world, especially the Western world, the developed world, was in a state of uncertainty. They believed that they were at war with the Eastern world. Now, because of that, they believed that the Eastern world, to advance the war, they were using air transportation as a tool. So most of the terrorists were believed to be agents of the Eastern world to terrorize the Western world through air transportation. So this one was a serious problem from 2001 to probably 10 more years ahead after that one. And it affected the airlines greatly. So, because of that, or in view of that, what did the airlines do? They had to invest a lot in ensuring that there was security and safety of passengers, just to ensure their passengers or air transportation users that at least there was safety. They had to invest more. So this was a challenge that many airlines were finding it difficult to deal with. Now, yes, go ahead.
You said the 9/11 incident.
9/11 incident.
I didn't get where they connected to the aircraft things. You just said they had war.
Okay. Maybe to begin with, maybe the question should be, what is the 9/11 incident?
Yeah.
Is there anybody who can just give us a hint on what the 9/11 incident is or was? Just a bit of it.
Maybe I should try.
Okay, yes, try it.
Okay. I think the 201 and 203 materialist
That was 2001.
akuje ku Islamic nations anavanga attack ndikina ku USA. Then ndikimene inakamenya zima buildings wili amati kazijani komano trade center. Then inakamenya mene ngokupulika antambira ngamwajira kwambiri. Mene ndio kutoka ntamene ufika mwina kama 2011 chicha simajitika wapi.
Okay, thank
Is there anybody who wants to maybe add something on what he said? You want to say something?
No, it was about the same.
Okay, the same. Actually, when you say 9/11, it's an incident that happened as this guy is saying. Some terrorists from the Islamic world, not Islamic world, the side part, anyway, from the Middle East, anyway, they hijacked some aircrafts within the US territory and smashed them onto some infrastructures in the US. There were 3 aircrafts, if I'm not wrong, that were hijacked on that fateful morning. It was 11 September. That's why we wait 9/11, because it was on 11 on the 9th month, right? It was 11 September 2001. So these people, they did this. It was in the morning. They hijacked a civilian plane. They smashed it into one of the buildings. They call them what? World Trade Center in New York. Then a few minutes later, another aircraft was also hijacked and they smashed it into another building. Then again, there was another aircraft that was the same day, in a space of minutes, if not hours. It was also hijacked and they smashed it. They wanted to smash into the defense headquarters of the US, what we call it, Pentagon. Of course, they managed to hit part of Pentagon. Then there was also another aircraft that was hijacked the same day, and they planned to smash the White House. Unfortunately, or fortunately, they missed and they crashed the aircraft into some other field close by near the White House. Then, as all these things were happening now, the US government realized that now there was a serious attack happening. So what happened? The US defense, what they did, they had to fly the US president. By then it was George W. Bush. They took him into the sky for some hours. It is said he remained in the sky for 8 to 12 hours, just moving around. Because now they couldn't trust anybody. They were like, we are now at war, you see, so they had to take him elsewhere into the sky, just flying around, not seeing that I think we are now in danger. So a few days later, it transpired that it was this guy, the infamous guy who was there, is it Osama bin Laden, who was behind these attacks, you see. So now, the US government days later, they declared war on terrorism. Now they said, okay, now let us deal with these people. Now the war started. They started going to Afghanistan and those other countries, hunting for Bin Laden. They couldn't find him. So the years that followed, it was just like that. Now traveling by air became so dangerous. Everybody was scared because with those incidents, a lot of people died. Thousands of people died. So for interest's sake, you can try to check. Even if you go to YouTube, 9/11 incident. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of videos that you're going to watch. Live videos, not like movies, but live videos of those incidents. Yeah, so that was terrorism, because those are terrorists. So even apart from that one, terrorism through air transportation has always been there for some time. So it has been very difficult for airlines to maintain safety and security of their passengers. And they spend a lot on this thing. And another challenge is climate change. Climate change is another challenge that is faced by this industry. Now, environmentalists believe that carbon emissions are responsible for some of these things that are leading to climate change. Now, they look for those that they believe to be suspects, those that are emitting so much into the environment, into the atmosphere. Now, the aviation industry is believed to be one of those suspects. Is believed to be one of those culprits responsible for emitting these gases into the atmosphere. Now, because of that, these environmentalists, lobby groups, governments, are always on the necks of those in aviation industry. Why? Because those environmentalists believe that you are responsible for, you are contributing significantly to climate change. So because of that, you must be held responsible. Are we understanding the logic that is here? The logic is that the aviation industry is suspected to be one of the contributors towards climate change through their emissions. So because of that, the environmentalists, the government, the lobby groups, and so on and so forth, they always look at these ones with suspicion, and they always grab their necks and say, you must take responsibility over some of these things that are contributing to climate change.
So how are they going to be responsible?
How are they going to be responsible? What do you think? Let's think of it. Good question. Yes, let's think of it.
Will they lessen the time of the flights kudasa kalambili kabena? It will be even timed to say we'll have 3 flights today. We'll
Okay.
not have.
Okay, so alright, fine. Here, I am an environmentalist, right? For example. Then I'm holding you responsible. My friend, you are contributing so much to these things. You are emitting so much. So otherwise I'm going to penalize you. I'm going to fine you, for example, right? So in response, what you say is, sorry sir, please don't penalize me. I will find ways of reducing. Okay, I will reduce, I promise. Are you promising? Yes. What are you going to do? I'm asking you now, right? What are you going to do? Now it's up to you to come up with ways through which you can what? You can reduce it, the emissions. So some of the ways through which you can do these things are like the ones that you are suggesting. The consolidation of your routes and everything, for example. Coming up with aircrafts that are fuel efficient, that are not consuming so much fuel. Finding alternative sources of energy, for example. So we are just suggesting these ones. But now, up until those other alternatives are found, as of now, because those alternatives are not there, as of now, what these airlines are expected to do is to they pay some fees towards the fight against climate change. So there are some fees that are associated with their operations up there. What's the use of these monies? They are not fines per se, but they are fees, because a fine is something that you pay when you have committed a crime. So though implicitly this can be seen as crimes, but they are not crimes per se. But